look, I'm in a lot of trouble, okay? I mean, I'm in a lot of trouble. I spent all the money and I borrowed some more. And I bet it on a horse because I was sure, you know, she was coming in, and then she didn't. Now, it's like, man, if I don't pay this money back, you know, I'm going to get a beat down like you wouldn't believe. And, you know, I don't want that to happen. And in this town in Chicago, you know, they don't play gentle, man. They're going to hurt me. I mean, they're really going to hurt me. So I need you guys to, you know, sell a lot of books. I'm just telling you, I need you to sell a lot of books, okay? Because I really, you know, did you pan out? For God's sake, you know, it blows the entire illusion. You understand that, right? So, you know, now it looks like I'm in, you know, in Tuscany, and, you know, or like I smoke cigarettes, which I don't. They're a filthy habit.
Egmont. Yeah!
I was lucky with Gone because it was a concept that came with a built-in hook, and it was a strong hook. And it starts right from page 1. And by the end of, I don't know, page 2, if I don't have that reader hooked, I'll be surprised. You know, authors talk a lot about their, you know, their inspiration, and it's kind of embarrassing for me to talk about it. It's something I feel deeply about. But I'd have to say my most profound inspiration, my motivation for writing, is money.
The lead character in Gone is a kid named Sam Temple. Sam Temple has in his past a moment of great heroism where he steps up. And people know this about him, although for the most part they've forgotten. But Sam doesn't trust himself, and the interesting thing is with Sam, he has reason not to trust himself. He's always done the right thing as much as he can, but he's also done at least one rather horrible thing. He doesn't trust himself with power. Doesn't want it. Does his best to avoid stepping into the heroic role in which he seems to be cast. This is an olive tree. It's a nice feature of living here. They're really, you know, quite, oh, Jesus. There are dark elements in Gone. There's no question about it. The kinds of things you'd expect if you suddenly took away all authority, all limitations on human behavior. One of the things we want to incorporate is a sense of change and of growing threat. And the threat is very real and very great in Gone. I intend it to be disturbing, and I think it is. And so a lot of the characters do things which are questionable or morally ambiguous, and some are just outright evil. I would argue that Kane and Drake are the most dangerous duo in all of young adult literature. It all centers on the number 68. Not really, I just happen to be standing in front of a 68. Egmont. Yeah!
When I started off, I was writing in Chapel Hill, of course, which is where we were living in the States. My wife is Catherine Applegate. We used to write together in the old days under the name K.A. Applegate occasionally, and other names at different times. We wrote a series called Animorphs, and a series called Boyfriends, Girlfriends, and a lot of other stuff. And then we took a few years off to raise our children. Realized we weren't doing a particularly good job at that, and decided it was probably just as well we went back to work. So we did go back to work, and one of the first things I thought about was this idea, this concept for Gone. And as I always do, I run everything by my wife. She's an extremely experienced and talented kid book writer, and looked over at her and said, "Hey, I got this idea," and gave her about a 1-minute précis, and she looked right at me and said, "Drop whatever else you're doing, write this." And since I'm a well-trained husband, I of course did what my wife told me. This is the map of the phase, which is the area inside Gone. And we've stuck in various different little nods to this person, to that, and this place that there's the Evanston Air National Guard. Kay and I used to live in Evanston, Illinois. That's I have various chefs. My favorite chefs are here. Tremonto from True in Chicago. Trotter's Ridge, of course, from Charlie Trotter, the sainted, the great Charlie Trotter. Achatz River, Grant Achatz, terrific chef, also a Chicago chef. And somewhere in here I had and I wonder if I left it in or if I ended up losing it. Something for Michel Rostand in Paris, who I like a lot. And then, boy, that sounds just so full of crap, doesn't it? It seems a lot of times that people trying to do bad things pay a lot more attention to their job than the people trying to do good things. And in part, the book reflects that. Sam and Astrid and Adelio and some of the other characters try to do what's right, and Mary all try to do what's right. But I don't know that they try quite as hard as Cain and Drake and Diana try to do things that are not so good. To be slightly more serious, I'm very interested in the idea of the universe as a system operated essentially like by software, so that the rules of the universe, cause and effect, action or reaction, set speed of light, that sort of stuff, are essentially software, and potentially could be hacked, potentially could be rewritten. And I love that idea. I love the idea that you could get into the software of the universe just as you could into the software of a computer and decide to make changes. The Stefano Rey National Park. Stefano Rey, the Spanish for Stephen King, of course. Perdido Beach, obviously Lost Beach. A little nod to the TV show Lost, which was a big inspiration of mine in thinking about this when I first started out. And then, of course, we had Golding Street for Lord of the Flies, which, oddly enough, I didn't realize till I was about halfway through that I was kind of, following along the same path. I'd actually started off thinking of a completely different thing. I work about 3 hours. Usually try to get out in the morning, feet up on the table, laptop, work on a Mac, of course, and type with my two little fingers, and drink a lot of coffee, occasionally smoke a cigar. The kids don't smoke cigars. And then the day is over, more or less by noon or 1 o'clock, at which point, we pretty much just start the heavy drinking right after lunch. And we're usually, my wife and I, face down in a puddle of our own sick by evening. So it's hard on the kids, it really is. Although, then they get to watch whatever they want on TV. So it's, I guess they're not really going to complain too much. Well, finally we come to the end of this interminable tape. I just wanted to say that I'm actually very proud of Gone. I think it's a good book. It seems to be doing okay in the States, and I hope it does at least as well in England. And I hope it does well for Egmont, and justifies the faith you've shown in the book and the efforts you're expending on its behalf. So thanks for listening, and finally, we're done.
Egmont. Yeah!